Christmas morning had always been magical in our house. Lisa would wake up early, make her famous cinnamon rolls, and we'd open presents by the tree while Christmas music played softly in the background. This year looked no different, until she opened the small wrapped box I'd placed under the tree the night before. Inside was a USB drive labeled "Merry Christmas, Amanda. My name is Charles Mitchell, 39 years old, and I work as a senior software developer for a cybersecurity firm in Portland." Lisa and I had been married for 7 years, and every Christmas morning followed the same perfect routine. What Lisa didn't know was that this would be our last Christmas together, and the USB drive contained evidence that would explain why. Lisa stared at the USB drive, her face going pale. "Charles, who is Amanda?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why don't you plug it into your laptop and find out?" Her hands were shaking as she opened her MacBook and inserted the drive. The first file that appeared was a video file titled Amanda_phone_call_December_15.mp4. She looked at me with confusion and growing fear. "Charles, what is this?" "Press play." The video showed Lisa sitting in our kitchen 3 nights earlier, talking on her phone while she thought I was working late. The conversation that played through our laptop speakers revealed the double life she'd been living for over 2 years. On the recording, Lisa's voice was clear. "Amanda, I can't keep doing this. Charles is getting suspicious about my late nights and weekend trips." A woman's voice responded through the phone speaker. "Lisa, you knew this would be complicated when we started. You can't just decide you want to go back to your boring suburban marriage. It's not boring. I love Charles, I love our life together. You love the security Charles provides. But you love me too, don't you?" Lisa was quiet for a moment. "Yes, but Amanda, I can't live this double life anymore. It's destroying me." "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying I need to choose. And I think I need to end things with Charles and be honest about who I really am." As the recording played, Lisa's face went from confusion to horror to resignation. "Charles, how long have you known?" 6 months. I installed monitoring software on our home network after I started noticing patterns in your behavior. You've been spying on me. I've been protecting myself from being blindsided by a wife who was planning to leave me for her girlfriend." Lisa closed the laptop and sat in silence for several minutes. "There's more on that drive, isn't there? 18 months of documentation, phone calls, text messages, photos, travel records, financial transactions, everything." What I'd discovered wasn't just an affair. It was a systematic deception that had been carefully planned for over 2 years. I'd first become suspicious in June when Lisa started working late nights at her marketing job and taking business trips that didn't align with her company's actual travel policies. Lisa worked for a mid-size advertising agency, and I'd casually verified with her boss during a company party that she wasn't traveling as frequently as she claimed. My background in cybersecurity had taught me to recognize patterns, and Lisa's behavior had developed distinct patterns that didn't match her explanations. She'd started using her phone differently, keeping it face down, taking calls in other rooms, being protective of her privacy in ways that were new to our relationship. She'd also begun working out more frequently, updating her wardrobe, and showing interest in activities she'd never mentioned before. The financial irregularities were what had convinced me to start monitoring her activities. Lisa had been withdrawing cash from our joint accounts in amounts that were too large for normal expenses but too small to trigger my immediate attention. Over 6 months, she'd withdrawn nearly $8,000 in cash that couldn't be accounted for through normal household spending. She'd also been using our credit cards for purchases that didn't make sense. Hotel stays in Portland when she was supposedly at home, restaurant charges for 2 people when she claimed to be working late alone, and travel expenses that didn't correspond to the business trips she'd described. As a software developer, I had the technical skills to monitor our home network traffic and track Lisa's digital activities. What I found was a comprehensive pattern of deception that went far beyond simple infidelity. Lisa had been maintaining a completely separate social media presence under a slightly modified name. While her real Facebook and Instagram accounts showed our married life, her alternate accounts documented a relationship with Amanda Rodriguez that had been ongoing for over 2 years. The photos on these accounts showed Lisa and Amanda at restaurants, concerts, weekend getaways, and intimate moments that clearly indicated a serious romantic relationship. Amanda appeared to be a successful attorney in her early 30s, and their relationship looked committed and emotionally significant. More disturbing was the evidence that Lisa had been introducing Amanda to people as her partner and had been attending social events as a couple. Amanda's social media accounts referred to Lisa as her girlfriend and included photos from what appeared to be a commitment ceremony they'd held 6 months earlier. Lisa hadn't just been having an affair. She'd been living a parallel life where she was in a committed relationship with someone else. "Charles," Lisa said finally, "I know you're angry, but you have to understand that I never meant for things to get this complicated." Complicated? "Lisa, you've been in a relationship with another woman for 2 years while married to me. You had a commitment ceremony with her. This isn't complicated, it's systematic deception. I was confused about my sexuality. Meeting Amanda made me realize things about myself that I'd been suppressing for years." "Lisa, I'm not angry about you questioning your sexuality. I'm angry about you lying to me for 2 years instead of having an honest conversation about what you were experiencing. I was afraid you'd leave me if I told you I was attracted to women. So instead of finding out you decided to have a secret girlfriend while staying married to me, I thought I could figure things out without hurting you. By living a double life where I was financing your other relationship without knowing it." Lisa looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I pulled out printed bank statements and credit card records. You've spent $23,000 of our money on your relationship with Amanda over the past 18 months. Hotel rooms, restaurants, gifts, travel expenses. You've been using my income to fund your affair." "Charles, those weren't affair expenses. Those were just social activities. Social activities where you were pretending to be single and available while married to me." The USB drive contained more than just evidence of Lisa's relationship with Amanda. It also contained her text message conversations where she'd been planning to file for divorce and had been strategizing with Amanda about how to maximize her settlement from our marriage. In one conversation from November, Lisa had written, "Amanda, my attorney says I could get half of Charles's tech company stock options if I file before the end of the year. But I need to be careful about how I handle the property division." Amanda had responded, "Lisa, are you sure you want to divorce him? Maybe you could just ask for an open marriage. I've thought about that, but Charles is too traditional. He'd never agree to me having a girlfriend. It's easier to just end the marriage and be free to live authentically." "What about the financial impact? Charles makes good money, and I'm entitled to half of everything we've built together. Plus alimony, if I can show that I sacrificed my career to support his." "Lisa," I said, showing her printed copies of these conversations, "were you planning to divorce me and claim that you'd sacrificed your career for our marriage?" She read the messages with growing embarrassment. "Charles, those conversations were taken out of context." "What context makes it okay to strategize about taking half my assets while maintaining a secret relationship?" I was scared and confused. I was talking through my options with someone I trusted. "You were planning to divorce me and take half my money to fund your new life with Amanda. That's not confusion. That's calculated deception." The final revelation on the USB drive was the most painful. Lisa and Amanda had been planning to move in together after Lisa's divorce was finalized. They'd been looking at apartments, discussing timeline for Lisa's separation, and even planning how to introduce Amanda to Lisa's family as her new partner. In Amanda's text messages, she'd referred to me as Lisa's obstacle and had joked about getting rid of the husband problem. Lisa had responded, "Amanda, don't talk about Charles like that. He's a good man who doesn't deserve to be hurt. But I can't keep living a lie just to protect his feelings." Asterisk. Asterisk. Lisa, I said, if you felt I was a good man who didn't deserve to be hurt, why didn't you talk to me honestly, instead of planning an exit strategy behind my back? Because I knew you'd be devastated if I told you I was in love with someone else. So you decided to let me be devastated while also losing half my assets and being made to look like a fool who never saw it coming. Charles, that wasn't the plan. Lisa, that was exactly the plan. I have 18 months of evidence showing that was the plan. Christmas morning continued in silence for another hour while Lisa reviewed more of the evidence I'd compiled. What happens now? She finally asked. Now you have a choice. You can continue lying and force me to use this evidence in divorce proceedings, or you can be honest about what you want, and we can handle this with some dignity. What do you mean? I mean that if you want to be with Amanda, you should be with Amanda, but you shouldn't try to take half my assets to fund a new life that you've been planning in secret for 2 years. Are you saying you won't fight the divorce? I'm saying I won't fight a fair divorce. You can have the house, it's mostly your taste anyway. You can have your car, your personal belongings, and a reasonable settlement that allows you to start over. But you can't have half my retirement savings and stock options to give you and Amanda a head start on your new life together. Lisa was quiet for a long time. Charles, I do love you. I love her too, and I can't keep living torn between two lives. Lisa, I understand that you've discovered things about yourself. I even understand that you fell in love with someone else. What I can't understand is why you thought the solution was to deceive me for 2 years while planning your exit strategy. I was trying to protect you. You were trying to protect yourself. If you'd been trying to protect me, you would have been honest about your confusion before starting a relationship with Amanda. 6 months later, our divorce was finalized. Lisa received a settlement that allowed her to start over comfortably, but didn't include the major assets she'd been planning to claim. She moved in with Amanda immediately after the divorce was final, and according to mutual friends, they're planning to get married. The USB drive evidence had made it impossible for Lisa to claim she'd been blindsided by our divorce, or that she deserved significant alimony. Her attorney had advised her to accept the settlement I offered rather than risk having the evidence of her deception presented in court. Today I live in a smaller house that's actually more suited to my lifestyle. I've started dating again, and have learned to recognize the warning signs of someone who isn't being completely honest about their intentions. The most valuable lesson from this experience wasn't about Lisa's sexuality or her relationship with Amanda. It was about the difference between someone who's confused about what they want and someone who's systematically deceptive about what they're doing. Lisa's struggle with her sexual identity was legitimate and deserved compassion. Her decision to lie to me for 2 years while planning to take half my assets was calculated deception that deserved consequences. The Christmas gift I left under the tree wasn't meant to be cruel. It was meant to give Lisa the opportunity to be honest about what she'd been hiding. Sometimes the worst nightmare isn't discovering that your spouse has been lying to you. Sometimes it's realizing that you've been living in a fantasy while someone you trusted was systematically planning to deceive you. Lisa got to be with Amanda, which is what she actually wanted. I got to keep the assets I'd earned and start over with someone who values honesty over strategy. The USB drive that ruined Lisa's perfect Christmas morning actually gave both of us the chance to build authentic lives instead of continuing to live in deception. Sometimes the gift that looks like a nightmare is actually the truth that sets everyone free.